All right, we are back. Peanut Gallery, take it away.
Yes. So Jinder Mahal is off his contract, and now he can appear, and he did.
He is running roughshod on everybody right now.
I know he is.
I love it. I think it's great. He's going to be doing something with CML or Triple A.
Mhm.
He's obviously here in GCW.
Yeah.
He did a couple of shows in more of a localized space.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy wants to work, and
The guy wants to work, exactly.
and I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah.
Putting stock in yourself. Let's do it. Come on. I mean, I like Jinder. I always said he was pretty good.
absolutely. And speaking of other people who are also making their debuts in GCW, Matt Hardy is also making his debut in GCW.
Is it the Hardys, or is it just Matt for right now?
It's just Matt, I think, for the time being.
Okay.
But yes, GCW is kind of you shouldn't sleep on this. I don't think.
I don't know. GCW is weird.
GCW is weird.
So they were really popular like a year and a half, 2 years ago. They were like doing everything. They were obviously having this great working relationship with WWE.
Yeah.
With Shayna Baszler and the Creeds.
That's GCW Bloodsport.
Yeah, that's
right.
Bloodsport. Yes.
Yeah. So it's.
But then they have Sean Ross Sapp fucking wrestling, and we know that Fightful loves that. Hi guys, really like seeing you in my comments.
Yeah, we should. Raj Giri has been on he made some controversial political statements today with regards to Joe Biden dropping out of the race, and it was on Twitter. I'm like, of course you're going to get your cesspool comments because
I didn't see that. I would have put it on drama, but I didn't.
Well, it literally happened today. But
it happened at like not even an hour.
Just don't post political stuff, please. Thank you.
Well, here's the thing: if you do,
ironically being parodies of political figures, let's just not post politics.
If you post about politics, just expect that you're going to get some hate, and that's pretty much all we're going to say about it. Anyway, go ahead with Joe Hendry.
Oh yeah, Joe Hendry. So he's very popular right now.
Yeah. His song was number 1 in UK charts for again. And he's obviously showing up on NXT a lot.
I don't know who he interviewed with, but there were a lot of things that came out of that interview.
He did one with Chris Van Fleet not too long ago. I like that one. By the way, you should watch that.
Yeah. He talked about like his potential for winning the TNA World Championship at Slammiversary, which didn't happen, but a lot of people expected him to win.
We'll talk about that in a bit.
He talked about how much time he has left on his TNA contract, which, by the way, is a lot of time left on his contract.
Yeah, I heard he had quite a bit of time left, which is fine. I think he's actually really good in this position.
Another thing I think needs to happen, especially if Joe Hendry wins the TNA World Championship, many are expecting a Bound for Glory win, is that he wants to wrestle John Cena before his retirement.
That would be, I mean, we talked about this last night while watching the show. That would be insanity of having John Cena versus Joe Hendry doing something.
And he talked about
Cena would be down for it too.
Oh yeah, that John Cena would so be down for it because they're larger than life characters in their own right. And then he also talked about how important his pin was, because he pinned on NXT. And how impactful that was as well, because he was the first person in the TNA roster to pick up a win in NXT. So there was that going. But anyways, moving forward, I don't understand this character. I'm trying to get it, but
now I want to say something really positive before we continue. I loved Collision's look.
Oh yeah, they had it was more intimate setting, but it really looked good. It had a good presentation to it.
I want them to do more of that.
Yeah,
I want them to be in very unique situations like that for Collision and Rampage to really set it apart.
Leave the arena shows for Dynamite.
Well, I mean they should leave too because 3/4 of the goddamn arena is empty.
Right. But anyways, I think they should do more unique venues for something like Collision, because Collision is it feels like a more unique show.
Yep.
And it should be treated as
such. That's why I like it when they do the Daily's Place shows, because it's in a theater and it's a very unique setting, and I really like it.
Yep.
That's why I always gush about the Dynamite when they do it.
But I don't. So I think this character is. I think it's Aramis. Who is this character?
Oh, really?
I think it is.
I have no idea. All I know is that his name is Hologram, and apparently the match was okay.
And apparently this is something that Tony Khan wanted to do for a long time now. I looked on the roster page today, and I don't know if I don't even know if this character is under contract.
Yeah, but they're. I mean, if you actually looked at their website, it is absolutely horrible. I'm sorry.
Like,
I mean, just functionally.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a UI UX designer, and I would be absolutely fucking embarrassed and pissed off if I had that. It looks like something that was built in 2005.
So apparently, this is something that Tony Khan wanted to do for a long time. I don't understand.
Sports-based presentation, sports-based company, folks.
You're right. I don't understand this. It kind of gives me like the character suicide vibes.
I actually thought it was more of like Sin Cara.
Yeah. And I think it is Aramis who is playing this character, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, you already said that. But I'm just whatever. It's there. It's another masked person.
It was way too overhyped for what it turned out to be. It looks a little corny.
Yeah, it looks really corny. Like the whole thing looks absolutely corny.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about Tony Khan and his comments about like stadium shows. So last week it was reported that there was another stadium show coming. Tony Khan kind of blew that thing out of the water and said that there were no plans for a stadium show.
They can't fill a fucking arena. What makes you think they can do a stadium show? Well, they do. They do Arthur Ashe, and that is technically a stadium.
It is a stadium, but he is not planning on a stadium show in the U.S. in the immediate future. Despite people thinking that he is going to put on a stadium show like WWE does. I'm sorry. The reason that a stadium show worked in London, and
well, they lied one.
Right.
I mean, they did good, but they lied.
The reason that it worked so well there was because that's the only show they did overseas.
Right.
So
it was a big swing, and
it hit the first year. We'll see how it works this year.
Their setup is not even remotely close to what it was, which is fine, which is hilarious.
And they're also trying to do like a WrestleMania week sort of thing out of all this, like in terms of like they're doing all sorts of other events beyond wrestling around.
I mean, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that'd be a great idea. I mean, WWE's giving they're giving people a little more lax about doing other things, same as they did a comedy show.
Right. And so, a stadium show in the US, I think AEW is not equipped for that without major changes, obviously. Yeah. Okay, so MJF and the match. We did talk about this a lot in the drama section, but it was I think it was the longest match in AEW's history, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, other than the one, no, there was a Bryan Danielson match where they gave it extra time. I think it was him and Hangman. Because it went to the time limit draw and they gave it 5 more minutes.
That's right. But
I don't think that was on Dynamite. Was that on Dynamite?
I don't think it. I could be wrong.
I can't remember if it was that or Winter is Coming. It was one of the two.
Yeah, one of those. But anyways, MJF is the international champion. I really don't know how I feel about this because I think they're going to set up a rematch for Wembley. I just don't think.
But then I was confused about this because MJF attacked Daniel Garcia and said, "I want to challenge you at Wembley." So is Daniel Garcia not happening? Is it going to be a 3-way?
I don't know because they are. Because let's see, because Will Ospreay then wouldn't have anything to do.
Yep.
But they should though because he is from the UK.
Yeah, he wants to do that show. He wrestled in the first one.
He did as a New Japan Pro Wrestling superstar, but I think
he wrestled.
Yeah, he was. But anyways, it's still confusing to me.
It's still very confusing.
Yeah, it is. Let's talk about Stephanie Valker, her debut in Mexico last weekend.
Yes,
she did her debut.
I have no clue who she faced.
She faced Isla Dawn, I think, and won that match.
Well,
but she is already getting a lot of attention from the main roster, and she hasn't even debuted. She's going to debut in NXT. I don't know when she's going to make her NXT debut.
That is a very good idea, by the way.
You just kind of get the stank out of the system.
Well, yeah.
But she's already garnering members of Judgment Day for her to possibly join the Judgment Day faction.
That'd be kind of interesting.
It would be. So, again, Erick Rowan had the interview. We all knew the interview was going to be about the deaths of Bray Wyatt and of
Luke Harper. or Brody Lee, whichever one.
Yeah, whoever you want to go with.
I'm just gonna say Luke Harper because it's in the WWE zeitgeist.
Right.
So
it's in the lexicon of the WWE. But anyways, I thought it was very appropriate to have him have this conversation
because it was going to. You had to.
It was going to happen. It had to happen.
Just like with Bray or Bo Dallas talking about Bray, they were very close, and this whole entire. They have to explain why these people are joining this group.
Right.
Now, these two have a legitimate excuse. One of them, the brother, and the other one was part of the original Wyatt family. They had to talk about it.
And then I'm sure that we are going to hear from other members.
We're going to hear from all of them.
Yeah, we are. But let's talk about how this has evolved so far, this faction, because there was also an in-ring segment that very week as well.
Yes,
with Uncle Howdy or I don't know. I don't know what they're calling them outside of their characters.
So it was Chad Gable and Bo Dallas.
Okay, so it was referring to it Bo Dallas.
So Bo Dallas. To what I'm looking at is that they are alter egos because it was a segment, not a match.
Right.
What I'm going to assume is that they are going to be wrestling as the characters.
Okay.
And doing the creepy stuff as the characters.
Okay.
But there will obviously be situations like Bo Dallas getting destroyed by them in the Creeds.
Yeah.
Where they are going to be themselves.
Right. We're going to be out of character.
And I think over the course of time, we're going to get a better understanding on why these people are choosing these specific characters.
Yep, exactly.
But they're doing, why did they join the Wyatt Six in the first place?
Right.
Because they don't want to overload us with information.
Right.
There's a lot. This is an onion, people. You got to peel back the layers one layer at a time.
Right.
So give them some
Can't
time.
over-egg the pudding.
Exactly. You don't want to give too much information because then you're going to burn people out and it will sound ridiculous.
Right. So that's my take. I think they're doing it well so far. I know that you were a little nervous at first, but I think the way that they're doing it is
they're playing it very carefully.
Yes.
I'm enjoying what I'm seeing so far. The aura of the Wyatt Six is still there. I'm liking the VHS tape interview-esque ideas. I just hope that they sort of get it out of their system sooner rather than later and then continue on something.
Right.
With the Chad Gable and Creed Brothers faction, that's good. We are going fine so far.
Yeah.
I just don't want them to do too much Bray Wyatt.
Right. All right. So Vince McMahon news. So this past week, I believe it was on Wednesday, the lawyers of Janelle Grant have requested medical information.
I wonder why.
Well, yeah, I don't know why either. I think it could be related to substances that were found around the time with Vince and certain wrestlers.
Did she say anything regarding, because she requested her own medical stuff.
Yes.
Now, why they're doing that, I have no idea. They're the ones who put the pause on this, and how does her medical records coincide with what's going on?
I think they're trying to prove that there were perhaps substances within her systems that may have contributed to perhaps her lackadaisicalness towards accepting certain terms of Vince.
I see.
Like, was she drugged? That sort of thing. That is the only thing I can think of at this point. But she did request not only her own, but I think she also requested medical records of the people that were also involved in this as well.
That might be a little bit harder to do, but you never know.
Right. And if it's not her that's requesting, it's her lawyers. So
yes, well, obviously at this point with litigation, the lawyers are the ones who are going to be in control of the situation. That's why they say keep your mouth shut and get a lawyer.
Right. So Linda McMahon was at the RNC.
Duh.
And
she's one of the biggest.
She's one of the she's the head. She herself is not the biggest donor, but she's the head of a super PAC that is one of the biggest donors to the Republican Party. Also Kane was there, obviously, because he's a politician for the Republican Party. But she was I guess accosted. I don't want to say accosted, but she was interviewed by I believe it was like Ringside or something like that. That's the name of the news agency that was also there.
She said that everybody is doing fine.
Yeah, she said, to my knowledge, I mean, I don't have any reason not to believe that she's,
well, just like with the Moose comments, I'm going to assume that she's like, well, keep it vague for now and say that everybody is doing fine, because she's obviously still in contact with Stephanie and Shane, who are doing their thing.
And with Vince, obviously.
Well, I mean, they probably wanted to see if they're going to get anything out of her, but she responded well. It's like everybody's doing fine.
Oh, and then we should also talk, so we're talking about the RNC. What do you think about the Hulk Hogan bit?
I loved it. I thought it was great. I almost put it in drama. I was close to putting in drama. I probably should have, all things considered, because people lost their minds about that.
Like positively and negatively. Like there were people on both sides that said positive and negative. I thought overall it was a good bit. I liked it.
I liked it. Yeah, Hogan.
It's just the showmanship of Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, I mean,
and everyone knows that Hulk Hogan is manga. He has been manga since day one.
Just like Kid Rock. Yeah. He played at the RNC.
Yep.
Donald Trump is a Hall of Famer.
Yep.
For the company. Kane was there because that. Linda McMahon was there because of her involvement. She was literally a member of her of his small business, of his administration.
Yeah. Right.
So clearly she has a vested interest with Trump and the re-election.
Right. So anyways, that's about it. When we come back, we're going to cover Slammiversary.
Yes.